Hey guys, today we are continuing our area and perimeter adventures, but now instead of finding area and perimeters of random rectangles that we don't care about or know nothing about, we're going to do this more in context, so it's more of a modeling type of thing. So before we get into what that's going to look like, it's really important for us to understand the difference between area and perimeter. Because in these problems, I'm not going to say, oh, find the area or find the perimeter. I'm going to give you a situation, and you have to know which of these applies to that situation. So, area measures the space inside of a figure. Okay? And that inside piece is really important. That's why I made it all caps, right? Because perimeter is exactly the opposite. So if you had a rectangle, area is that inside shading that you are worrying about. Okay, and for example, I've listed some here. We've got tiles on a kitchen floor, carpeting a room, painting a wall. All of these are situations where you're filling some kind of surface, right? The space on a surface. Two-dimensional surface, of course. So perimeter is the opposite, right? Perimeter is the distance around a figure. All right, and now around is the key word here because perimeter is the outer edge. So if I had a rectangle, that rectangle, the outer edge of that rectangle itself is what we are looking for. So some examples, fencing around a yard, that's the most popular one. If I walk around a lake, if I want to know how much crust is on a pizza, right, the crust is around the pizza, so that's also an example of perimeter. These are some examples, but that's not the only possibilities, right? There's a lot of other ways we can refer to perimeter and area too. So let's go ahead and try some practice problems. Let's say we have a rectangular garden, 15 by 20 feet, and we are trying to fence the entire garden. So it helps to draw pictures. We know that the short side is 15 feet. We know that the long side is 20 feet. Now because it's a rectangle and we know how rectangles work, we can go ahead and assume the opposite sides are the same lengths, right? So we can fill in the other 20 and fill in the other 15. Now because we're talking about fence, right, this is a clear indicator that we want to go around the garden. And just like right here in my example where I talked about fences, right, we know that that's asking for perimeter. The first step in these problems is oftentimes deciding just which one you need, area or perimeter. Because once you decide, then you can figure out how to do it, right? We know that to find perimeter, we have to add all of the sides. So I add 20 plus 15 plus 20 plus 15. Okay, and this is going to give me a final perimeter. Oops, not 3. Oh, geez. Go the eraser route. Alright, it's going to give me a perimeter of 70. And because we're talking about perimeter, my unit should be feet. Alright, an alternative way to write this or to calculate it, some people like using this better. Sometimes it's considered a bit of a shortcut. You know that you have two 20s, so we can do 20 times 2, and then plus we got two 15s as well, so we could do 15 times 2. If you calculated that or typed that in your calculator, you would also get 70. Okay, so that's just another way for you to calculate perimeter of a rectangle. It only works for rectangles and squares because those are the ones where we know that there's 2 of each side length. Alright, let's try another one. We have a big baked sheet cake. Right? It's a rectangular sheet cake, a 2 by 3, huge cake. And we want to ice this cake. Now, I should clarify, we are only icing the top for our intents and purposes here today. So if we are icing the top of this cake, let's draw our nice big sheet cake here. We got 2 feet by 3 feet. Alright, and again, since it's a rectangle, we can fill in the other sides. So now, because we're icing the top portion of that cake, we're going to be filling in a space. And so that indicates to us that we are looking for area. Okay, now that we know that we're looking for area, we can just calculate it. We know that the area of a rectangle is just base times height, or length times width, so 2 times 3, and that's going to give us 6 square feet of space that we're going to have to ice. Okay, and these units, pay attention to them. That's how you know whether I'm talking about area or perimeter, right? Because I put feet squared, I know that I'm talking about an area, whereas perimeter doesn't have any squaring on the unit. All right, one last example. We have Kelly replacing her carpet in the bedroom. It's a rectangular room, and it's a 14 by 21 foot room. So let's draw one more rectangle here. We have 14 feet, 21 feet, and of course the other sides. Alright, so now again, because she is carpeting a floor, and that means she is filling in a space, again, I would say that this one is asking for area. Notice how every problem I am first starting by deciding which one, because that's going to decide which kind of calculation I do, right? This, calculating the length of, the edge around the room is not going to really help me much with deciding how much carpeting I'm going to need to fill the space in. So, because we're finding area, we can do length times width, so we got 14 times 21. And 14 times 21 is going to give us an area of 294 square feet, or feet squared. Alright, and then we are done. That is all for today.